they were going to come last Friday to finish it up, so it should be all done.
Good. Yeah, I had talked to David today, and he said
there's no major issues. Everything looks fine. Everybody's quite happy.
Yeah.
So there's no punch list, it's done?
No, there is a punch list.
Right.
Yeah.
It's considered 99% complete, and
Okay.
they're missing a couple of fixtures,
Yeah.
one room, and a couple of lenses in the
Okay.
garage down below. I can update on the CO2 project. The CO2 project, which is the on-demand ventilation for the Spalding building, is about 75% complete. The contractor went in there and did all the hardware necessary. Upon programming it, they found that one of the sensors in one of the RTUs that sense pressure, building pressure, needed to be replaced, and they're waiting on David in the facility, the school, to replace it because it's not one of their sensors they were supposed to install, but it's an RTU sensor. So that's moving along. Project number 3, which is the start of D-Strat fans for the auditorium. There's discussions going on right now because of the funding that was provided and what the cost was, is that they may cancel that project or maybe do half of it, and that's where it is right now. Dan is looking at that. So that was.
So are you saying the final price is more than what we have in?
Yes, the contractor had given us a price that was double what Green Communities provided for funding. So it looks like that project, what they are recommending, the contract's recommending to do is to resubmit it next year instead of trying to go about getting the scope changed by Green Communities and us. And by that time, we'll miss the January 31st deadline, and then we won't be able to submit anything for next year. So he recommends pulling it and then resubmitting the project for next year's project and see if we can get a grant for that. The 4th project, the construction for the town hall, pressure sensor valves. Bob, myself, and Dan met with Guardian, the contractor, and worked through what they proposed. The proposal was to what type of work they were going to do, changing the valves out, and that has been done, and they're planning on starting mid-January or earlier. It looks like it's going to be mid-January.
So the scope of work has been agreed?
Yes, scope of work's been agreed, and it's been wrong. Bob, that?
No, I wasn't there for the end, but so they agreed to do that.
Yeah.
And that price.
So
Yes.
if we don't complete the projects, all the other projects, can we apply for a Green Community grant next year?
Yes. So
Even though we haven't completed the projects by the end of February?
We have to complete the projects. They were aiming for January 31st.
I mean, that's just one of those things with this school project?
Yes, it has to be completed, and they'll be complete.
Okay.
I am really comfortable they'll be complete, other than the one we're going to cancel. You know.
Well, that's the one I was saying. If they can't, you don't want to be in a situation that we run over, so we can't apply for a grant next year.
Correct.
And then, so it's
Exactly.
2 years.
That's why we want to cancel that.
But wasn't weren't they kind of telling us that we wouldn't like to get a grant next year regardless?
That's what they've said, but then I've been hearing that if you can finish on time, you can submit. We'll see if we get it.
And maybe we just do less work. Smaller work,
yeah.
and that's a bit more manageable for us because
There are a few lights at the school rooms and stuff that it's like to hit because we missed. So there's still some there because we're always trying to stay under the $100,000 mark, so that it doesn't have to be bid out. We can use our expediter.
Yeah.
So that's kind of we want to finish up the third phase of it. So that's the town hall project. The DPW lighting is 100% complete. I didn't tour the building yet, but I peeked over before I came over tonight, and it looks like it is all done. But we'll see. But that's the word that I got from the contractor. So let's take a look. Number 6, the police vehicles anti-idling. I don't have any updates on that. Claude, do you know anything about that? Or?
I saw an email from John asking whether it had to be an American-made product, but I haven't touched base with him. That implies that
He's working on it, yeah.
Yeah, I guess, well, this Canadian option, I guess, would not be American-made. I was thinking of, like Japanese or Asian, but...
What car doesn't have non-American?
Yeah.
exactly, I was going to say.
Right, it would be kind of it would really tie our hands if everything has to be American-made.
So
I wrote to him and said, I didn't think think so,
Right.
and I CC'd, I think you and,
Why would
I,
it?
I didn't get a copy. No,
Okay.
I haven't seen it, but.
well, I said,
good.
as far as I knew, it wasn't.
So if you can forward me that email, I can
Okay.
directly ask Neil, our coordinator.
Okay,
community
yeah.
Coordinator to make sure, yeah.
Okay, I will forward that now.
Super. So that one's pending, and then police and library, vehicle charging station. Claudia, I don't know if you may have any updates on that, or?
Well, I've done a lot of research, and I tried to CC everybody on it, so you may have all seen it. The library wanted the answers to a lot of questions, like what do other libraries do? Is there any historic, an EV charging station in a historic district? You know, what does the stuff gonna look like that's above ground? Blah blah blah. And I think I addressed all those questions. I'm gonna meet with them on Friday at their board meeting at 10 o'clock, and I'm gonna ask them to, you know, fish or cut bait, you know, and say, hey, yeah, if you don't really want it, we're gonna move on to other things. Debbie was great in it. She asked Neil whether, does it have to be at the library? And basically the answer was, well, any publicly accessible place, even if it's privately owned, is okay.
Oh, okay.
So we could put it at Furnace, you know, Town Park, we could put it here at Town Hall. So I'm gonna start pursuing those options if the library says no tomorrow. And I'm gonna tell them, look, you know, I want you guys to feel like you really want this thing. I don't want, you know,
Right.
to slam it down your throats. And if you feel, if you're just lukewarm about it and you're really not enthusiastic, we'll go elsewhere. You know?
What is the problem?
Well, so one of the big concerns is parking. They say that, you know, if we'll monopolize a parking space, precious parking that, you know, they have people parking at Ferns and maybe at the post office or at the school on these events, and so we don't want to lose a single parking space. But as I've found out from the 2 other libraries in Massachusetts that have these charging stations, it's basically, you know, you can park there with a gas car. They say maybe we'll ask you to move if somebody comes in with an EV or something. But if there's no other space, then they'll just tell the EV, look, you know, park across the street. Or maybe if the person's nice, they'll say, yeah, I'll move to across the street and you can park there, whatever. But it's a flexible arrangement these libraries have, and the libraries seem enthusiastic about their charging station. So, and the other concern is the historical commission, and you know, in Lexington, which is the most historic of historic districts as far as I'm concerned, they have 3 charging stations, and it doesn't seem like they're any different than any of the other ones I've seen, yet they're in this historic district. So I have a call into the historic district in Lexington, the guy's on vacation, but to get, to point me to the minutes of that meeting where they went over this, you know, presumably that happened like 5 or 6 years ago, so, so that's where I stand. I also contacted Matt at Ferns, and unlike Larry, he was very enthusiastic. And Michael, the wine connoisseur, or no, it's a sommelier or whatever. He was also very enthusiastic. He saw it as an opportunity to get more people into the store and to publicize the store and so on and so forth. Yeah. So you know, but you know, there's a bunch of stuff that has to happen. It's not just sign here and everything happens. You know, there's a lot of paperwork involved and so on and so forth. So I haven't gotten back in touch with Matt after I talked to him the first time, but I've emailed him all of the stuff and so on and so forth. So I stopped by twice this week, and he was always not there.
So what's the likelihood of you being able to wrap this up by February, end of February? It's tough. It looks like
very
it's not.
tough. I mean, there's a ton of paperwork.
Well, you're relying on Eversource as well.
Yeah.
Which is even worse.
EV Ready program. Right.
So we may not be applying for a grant next year.
Yeah, which means that maybe half of projects better at the south station, and so.
Yeah, right. Probably true.
Say that, you mean it's better to apply for fewer projects?
No.
No,
We're
no,
talking
no.
about
Maybe doing half the strat
school,
fans.
the strat fans.
Do half of them, because at least we'll have half of them done for 2 years.
Right.
Because if we don't finish the charging stations, then the school loses out. We can't apply for a grant next year.
Oh, I see. You mean if you abandon something and return the money, then you...
No, you're
meet the
abandoning it's
deadline.
no problem.
Yes, you meet the deadline.
Yeah.
Okay, you meet the deadline. So it's
But-
like a game. Do we
Yeah,
return the
exactly.
money
That's what I'm
and
saying is you have
half
to.
of it, I mean, we could return the money on the charging station too, you know.
But then
You wouldn't, the likelihood of getting
Another grant, yeah,
Another
then they
grant.
look at you and go, hey, what's going on?
Right.
Yeah.
I
We
just
have-
think based on others, they have, storm dates, that it's just really hard during that time period to
Yeah.
count on them to get work done.
Yeah, especially they're gonna be digging in burial conduits across the parking lot.
I'm not even sure they'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're underground,
That's why
groups,
Ferns,
and there's no work between like December and.
it might be worth looking at Ferns some, because then you'll be right next to the building and there's no conduit.
That's true if you
Well-
got it right there.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know that I don't know that there are many parking spaces that are just adjacent to the building.
In the back, maybe,
No, at Ferns, they're right outside, right next to the wine shop,
out in front.
out in the front.
Oh, out in front.
Yeah.
Right where the
Oh,
old
well,
garage
yeah,
used to
I
be.
mean,
They may not want
if they wanna
that
put them
far.
there, they may wanna put them in the back, and then Eversource wants to be able to expand, so they wanna have contiguous spaces where, that's their whole shtick, is that we're gonna put in this infrastructure
Well,
that could handle,
Seven.
5 or,
Seven,
you know,
yeah.
5 to 10-ish, it sounds like. So, but I guess across the front, you could do that many, but firms may say, well, no, we want more in the back.
Right,
So there's all this negotiation has to happen.
gotcha.
I mean, maybe, well, is it pavement that's the problem in the winter? In other words, if they're trenching without interrupting pavement, is that
You
still,
can dig,
it's
it's
still a
just
problem?
harder,
Yeah, but.
the ground's
Eversource-
frozen.
I
And in
just-
fact, when you think the big dig, they actually deliberately froze the ground to dig through it.
Well, they have to use
So-
cold patch to patch it in the winter.
So-
They
Right.
can't use hot patch. They have to come
Plans
back
on-
again and do it over again.
You can check, I know if it was like an underground service to a subdivision or something, they won't touch that for like 5 months.
Right, well, then it's probably the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know if something like small like that, they would still do it.
How about town hall?
Well, that's one of the sites, Town Hall, Town
Oh,
Center
okay.
Park,
All right.
and then the library and Ferns, those are the 4.
We have the same problem, you have to dig a trench.
Well, the parking lot, far parking is not blacktopped.
It seems like we ought to choose the best
But you have to get the
area,
water.
and
Exactly.
and if it's.
Takes time, it
I think
takes
it's.
time.
Under the blacktop.
Yeah, there is blacktop.
And try to get those
You
two
could do it
projects done
outside
as
the
much as you
blacktop.
can, cause
Hmm?
it's
Run the wire, could run the conduit outside the
a good
blacktop.
question whether you get a
could.
grant this year anyway.
Yeah, true, I agree.
I mean, Town Hall wouldn't necessarily be bad, I mean, there's a lot of people that work in this building, and, they could have plug-in hybrids or just regular electric cars, and it could be a great, benefit for them to be able to charge at work.
Just gotta be careful where you cite it, because some reconfiguration of the parking lot, the entrance to the parking lot has been discussed at the
proposed, yeah.
facilities group. To make this a little bit better.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to kill our own people, as people driving in and out on voting day.
Yeah.
I just say this charging station project is getting as complicated as streetlights.
Streetlights, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
It's
Okay.
like this thing, it should be really easy, and then
no, nothing's ever easy.
Nothing is easy.
Anything else to add? No, no set. Okay, so that's the Green Communities update. Municipal solar update, Bob, you wanna take that?
Sure, so we met with the selectmen,
Sorry,
and, whatever date that was.
it's Tuesday, I'm sorry.
Tuesday the 13th, because I just put it in the minutes.
Tuesday the 13th, yes. And so they approved, basically we wrote up a kind of a template to try to make the voting easier. The selectmen approved moving forward with parking canopy for the school, subject to school committee approval, and the DPW area. They did not approve either of the ground mount options. And they approved the working group's recommendation to go negotiate with Amoresco, who had the best overall proposal. And they approved our recommendation to establish a working group to negotiate the lease agreement with Amoresco.
How do you spell their name?
Ameresco.
Okay.
And subsequent to that, I know Tim has notified Amoresco that this happening, and we're together the team, the group to do this, and it hasn't gotten off the ground quite yet. I know he's had to, there's, some school committee, some from selectmen, some from FinCom, he needs to get actual people volunteered to do that. So I don't know how far along he's on that. I know he's working on it. So the next step will be to meet, get that group together for the initial meeting, and then meet with Amoresco. And also there's a school committee meeting on the 12th, which some of us are gonna attend, and Jonathan put together a presentation for that, to get school committee buy-in, basically, and get their feedback.
And Tim requested that the old working group attend that meeting.
Yep.
To do the
Okay.
presentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
Yeah,
is,
I'm happy to go along, I had,
Okay.
what's the
John,
date?
then you cannot attend, correct?
What's it?
I might be
You
able
have
to,
a
but
you're
I'll be
conflict that day?
late,
Got it, okay.
so, but they said they'll probably be late anyway, so I'll just show up when I can.
What's the date again?
12.
The 12th, a week from.
do you know what
Yes.
time we're on? I haven't seen the minute.
8:15.
8:15?
That's what I heard somewhere.
That's no good. 12, okay, yes, that works.
So I'll plan on attending, so, and you're
Yes.
planning on attending, Bob?
Yes.
I should add, that the, Conscom asked me about what had been, what had happened in the selectmen meeting, and I gave them a brief summary, and they said, if we wanted to come to them at some point, basically, they'll be happy to endorse our, efforts. Sometime prior to town meeting or what have you,
Yep.
probably be a good time.
That's good.
So you're the liaison with Conscom?
What's that?
You're now the liaison with
I am the
Conscom?
yeah, default, yeah,
So they
exactly.
don't have any objection, the Conscom, they don't have any objection, they
No.
support the program. That's good.
The only comment I had is I actually, and this is much more than what I do in my real life. I felt that the selectmen actually, the transfer station has been zoned for solar, and therefore it's already been agreed at town meeting that it's zoned for solar, and therefore the selectmen shouldn't have made any comment about cutting down trees, because it is already zoned that way. It's been voted on town meeting, and I personally feel that town meeting takes precedence over the selectmen's personal feelings.
Yeah, I made that comment to a former member of the planning board also, and the comment back was that he said that it was in their right, he thought it was in their right because the selectmen basically own that property and they can decide on how and what needs to be put there. Even though we have a solar district, I understand what you're saying.
I thought you'd actually got rid of kings in 1760.
Only a name.
Only in there, right?
Yeah, you're worse than we are.
But, still a solar district and it's not over there. This is, in my opinion, this is the first phase.
Yeah, okay.
So that's what.
I mean, the meeting had gone on so long
Yeah.
with the deer, I wasn't gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it is, the developer, build as a right in the district, which means to me, if it's approved, they can build as a right in terms of the planning board approval, but still, someone's gotta give them approval for the actual project and the financials.
I
So
understood
selectmen
it
can
was
all-
the
can always
financial.
say the finances aren't worth that impact on the property.
That's fine, but they shouldn't have been because they love trees.
Noted, okay.
The other thing that we need to do is get started on the bylaw.
Yes.
And I think that might be independent of the negotiation. What do you think, Bob?
It should be.
Yes.
So I think we should probably start talking with David Friedman, right?
Yes,
Figure out
he's-
what we need to do,
He volunteered his time.
right?
This
So-
is for the school site?
Yeah, we need to
Yeah.
expand the existing bylaw that created the solar overlay district to include the school. And I think, I don't know, we either need to decide if we wanna handle the canopy heights, or,
Yeah.
We should
yeah, I
at
think
the
it's
same
better
time.
to just
Yeah,
go do
yeah,
both.
same time.
So I think we need to draft a bylaw that will amend that. And then, one question that I have is how much should we expand the bylaw? Should we make it very narrow and just do the exact locations that we're trying to cover? Or should we do something broader so that we don't have to go back to town meeting for the next project in 3 to 5 years?
Some of the issues isn't actually going back to town meeting, it's actually getting Massachusetts, once it's gone to town meeting, we then have to go through a process of actually getting Massachusetts to approve it, and that takes another 18 months. If Massachusetts have the staff to do it. So
I
that
think-
So we
it's
might
not
wanna
just
do
town
more
meeting.
expansive rather than,
My gut reaction would be is to do what we need to do
You
and
need to
keep
get,
it,
yeah,
keep it so that the residents at town meeting can understand what we're gonna do and we can say that's what we're gonna do.
you have to get to that sweet spot where
Yeah,
you can get town
because
approval
You don't wanna,
and,
you don't wanna discourage it, you know, there's a lot of, there was a lot of people, 2 or 3 people talked against, the ground mounts at the solar district area, which was already voted on approved, so you don't wanna have that much controversy, you want something that the townspeople can vote on at town meeting that will go through, and mainly,
I think we ought to
keep it
cover
narrow.
that entire lot.
I agree.
Which would include,
The ground.
would include it would leave
So the
Spalding
area in
Field
Spalding.
as being
Yeah.
eligible.
Right.
And that lot goes all the way to, school, Church Street corner.
Right.
So I think we should at least include that entire lot.
Yeah.
okay.
But I wouldn't include any other.
Wouldn't include things like the parking lot at Banta Davis.
No, because that's not even
No,
our
no,
focus.
that's too
and
controversial.
That's very controversial, when we went to the.
everybody wants a piece of that land.
Yeah. So I think we should just narrow it to what we're trying to.
Okay, so just the school,
School and the
And
high,
then-
and make the land as big as possible, like all the school land, to give us flexibility.
Right, I think it's one lot, but it might be multiple lots, so that we can check out. But
okay.
Yeah, I mean, David Friedman, I think, would weigh in on what
That's
would
the best
be-
way, yeah.
Well, I think he has a sense of what, is gonna, fly,
It sounds like you need to set up with the planning board, you need to go to the planning board and set up a solar overlay or amendment task force to do this. I think that's how it was done before a while ago.
Right, to the planning board.
It was
Yeah.
done with the planning board.
With the planning board.
So somebody needs to go to the
And-
planning
and-
board and do that.
The focal point would be, I would, hopefully would be David, because David spent many years on the planning board and they respect,
Well, I think it's David and Pete, is Peter still the chair?
Peter's still the chair, so we can start with David and then see how the best way to approach the planning board and when to approach it, if we, have a draft already set and then start
So are you going
talking
to,
with them.
are you going to do that, Jonathan?
Take the lead on that?
I can contact David, certainly.
It has to be the planning board and David, so it's like, cause we need to be officially the planning board back it.
Yeah,
Yes.
but we need to, like, all the town,
But
we
you need
need
David-
like every
you
group
need
in town
David
to
to help
back
you
it
draft
before we go to
it.
town
Yeah.
meeting.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
but you need
so-
David to draft.
So my only concern, I didn't want to make it a requirement that people on the working negotiation team have to be on that, because, you're adding, that could be another 6 or 8 meetings and.
Right,
so
and it would,
I don't
it would
necessarily, that they
stall.
have to be involved with crafting the bylaw versus they can get feedback or.
Okay, so why don't I start by contacting David and find out what he thinks the process should be, and see if we can get him to get started on whatever it is. I can do that.
Great.
So just to feedback on the last bylaw, last solar bylaw I did, so you had a group, which was, were you on the group?
No.
It was like 4 people.
Right.
It was
But-
Rich King,
but
was it
then
you and?
I was not on the group.
Dave?
But he included me where he thought I could give feedback or so on, and so able to, attend this meeting or attend that meeting, so I think it might be a better way of having kind of a smallish group, but that
Then you just
people,
grab
it's open
resources when
meeting,
you
so
need it.
people
Yeah.
can go and have points and give feedback at the right time, or, get drafts, and, the drafts will be available.
But as I recall, right, he does run around to every single town board, right,
Ultimately.
Yes,
Exactly,
get each of them to vote to endorse it before showing up at town meeting.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
okay, I'll take the action to
Thank you.
contact him, see if we can get that ball rolling.
else on municipal solar?
Nope.
All set. So moving along on the agenda,
Oh, sorry, one
Okay.
more thing. So, the smart program opened up for, applications.
Oh, it did?
The end of November. And so just the first week of applications was sort of all this pent up demand of applications. And so Eversource, during this first week, had about 60% of the first block applied for, which isn't bad. National Grid's on block 7. Eversource West is done
Wow.
for large projects. There's
Yeah.
plenty of small project space below 25 kilowatts.
So we still have a good chance in block 2?
Yeah, you know, when we get to block 3, I think, which we're basing numbers on, but I feel pretty good about that if we can move this along.
So what do you call this, the block 1 of the,
Smart,
Smart
the
program.
new smart incentive program.
And between each block is about 4% in revenue.
So the financial projections were based on block 3 is kind of the assumptions. So I feel pretty good that
We're gonna at least meet that,
we can meet that if.
or get better.
Well, I don't know if we get that. But
Is there anything more we should do to move it along?
remind Tim?
Gotta start having meetings, I don't know.
Remind Tim to do it, that's all.
I've done so, it's just,
Okay, moving on. Task force website updates, anything, Deb, on that?
Unfortunately, no, I have, as you know, I, have lost my mother-in-law, so,
Been busy, yeah.
things are a bit crazy in our house, and I haven't managed to do that along with the annual report.
Yeah,
That was a bit too much to take on, but it is on my to-do list for next month.
Good. One comment one of the selectmen made was that if we could have the list of all our projects that we've done on the website. So I think Tim may have it, but we just got an agenda to have it posted on our website.
What I had thought of doing in order to sort of start ordering things is I'll just start a sort of fake site on Weebly,
Okay.
which everybody can then go and look at.
Okay.
Like I did for the zero waste one, and then people can make comments and add in links, and it's
And
very
then we'll-
easy
Yeah.
to do that, and then it gives it's almost like using a Google Doc.
Mhm.
And then we could actually get to the point that we could just link that page to
Ours.
the town website, but I
The one-
thought that was the easiest way of just
Right, the one I
me
was,
sorting stuff that I have on
the
file.
one that I was talking about is the green communities one that we have. It's just a list of all the projects, that green sheet.
Yeah, we have that, well, we have Massachusetts, it
Yeah,
just
there's no
that.
editing at all. That could be just posted up there. Okay, anything else? What time do you have to leave?
Shortly, no, I've got, his plane was a bit late.
Oh,
Um.
that's a good thing. Okay, moving on, update on heat smart transition. Bob Zog isn't here, so he asked me to read this to you guys, just so you know what's going on. The Carlisle, Concord, and Lincoln Heat Pump Working Group has completed video shoots for 2 homeowner testimonials, Innova's views of heat pumps, introduction, technology discussion, and available incentives. We will edit finalize the videos and complete 2 or 3 additional homeowner testimonies. We will make these videos available through the Carlisle Education Task Force website. The entries for the heat pump drawing are due December 7th, so we got 2 more days out there. After that, a winner will be selected. This is basically because of the number of heat pumps that were installed between the 3 towns. The contractor is providing a free heat pump system to a needy household, if you will. And there's a criteria that was published in Mosquito to qualify for it, and if you do qualify, you submit your name to Bob or to the Bob or to the Mosquito, and they will get all the names, and then there'll be a random drawing, I believe, for the person or persons that will get that free heat pump system. So after that, a winner will be selected. If the winner is willing, we will submit a press release to the Mosquito documenting the installation. So that's basically what Bob had to say on the Heat Smart update.
The winner will be someone from Carlisle?
Yes.
Carlisle, it's only Carlisle, because they did a straw
Ah,
in Carlisle won, so.
oh, wow.
Yeah,
Woo-hoo.
yeah.
So, well, pick the
But
right
you have to
one.
be on oil, you can't be on gas.
That's true.
Yeah.
It has to be an oil heated house.
By the way, I didn't know you went back on.
Oh, I know.
Bob R.
And Bob wrote that too. Well, yeah, well,
Omar.
yeah, that, the agenda was wrong. Household waste committee, any update, Deb, on that?
No, but the Claude can update.
So I've been in touch with Lana, and she sent me a copy of their report that they're going to present to the select, the first draft. And I went through and edited the whole thing, made a bunch of edits. So what I'm recommending is that we push for pay-as-you-throw up front. Like this is the big recommendation. And another recommendation they have is that we should tweak recycling, but that's not a major change, and I don't want the pay-as-you-throw to be sort of like, well, and we could do pay-as-you-throw and blah, blah, blah. No, pay-as-you-throw front and center. And the reason to give is that the landfills are filling up and the incinerators are not a solution, because although there's a 10-to-1 reduction in the solid waste you get with an incinerator, you still have ash that you have to landfill somewhere. And these landfills are filling up, and there's nobody wants a new landfill in their town. So it's getting to be a crisis, and so the state is asking everybody to sort of chip in. And the proven way to do solid waste reduction is to implement pay-as-you-throw. That's the gold standard. And 150 communities in Massachusetts have already done this out of the 351, and they get 40% easily, and then they actually continue to get reductions even after the first year of operation. But there are towns like Arlington that tried pay-as-you-throw that are not doing it now. Woolwich, Maine, recently implemented it for 4 or 5 months, and then they had a town meeting vote against it. So I think it's really important, especially in view of what happened.
Wouldn't one of the impacts here be that people just hire companies to pick it up, and that you're not really getting that signal?
I don't know. There's a lot of wealthy communities that have implemented it.
But I mean, 40% reduction at the transfer station, but if that means they have trucks driving around privately picking up trash that people are paying for, are you really?
I don't think that's what happens.
No, okay.
One of the things one of the FAQs that they have is, okay, well, what happens if the recycling tonnage doesn't go up by the amount the waste tonnage goes down? What's going on? Where's all that trash going, right? And they're saying, well, there's many different things. Some of it is people in surrounding communities that are pay-as-you-throw will bring their trash to their friend's house, right? So, there are people using our transfer station directly who are not supposed to. And if you have bags that you actually have to buy and put it in, and it's easier to monitor in some sense. You don't have to worry about license plates and stickers and all that. Where's the bag? It's not a purple bag. It's not going in there. People leave packaging at stores. They start to become more conscious of, they may change their buying habits. There were a couple of other reasons that, you might not see that shift over from solid waste to recycling. But none of them were, oh, well, they just hire private haulers and then.
Is single stream another big aspect of that, or not?
Well, I'm gonna advocate that doing single stream would be a big change.
Right.
Right, so in some sense, the pay-as-you-throw would actually be rather straightforward, right? It's, okay,
Right.
you just have to have these purple bags.
Right.
Nothing else really has to change. I mean, it's, yeah, I'm trying to make it, and then there's this sort of shame aspect that I want to eliminate, which is that, well, Carlisle is one of the highest per capita tonnage of solid waste in the state, number 3, I think. But we're also a wealthy community, and we do recycle, and you could say our recycling percentage isn't actually that high compared to other towns. But, and I'm gonna do this calculation, our recycling absolute tonnage per capita may be on the high end. In other words, if we're highest on waste, and we still have a reasonable recycling percentage, we may act, because I think people really do try to recycle here. But pay-as-you-throw is gonna target that other piece, the solid waste piece that goes to the incinerator. And that, I think, is where we haven't done as much as we could, and I think pay-as-you-throw is the answer there.
Just going on, because the vehicle, we should talk about vehicle reduction emissions that's happened already. By moving to Billerica, recycling to Billerica, we've already seen that we lost about, it's been really difficult because the data wasn't collected in the town hall correctly. But the overall, our vehicle emission, vehicle MMBTUs dropped almost by 100. So that looks like that is directly what we expected it to do from changing from Westboro to Billerica. So that's very good in that bit, but it's not that much money. I mean, I can't remember what I told Lorna.
Well,
about 7,000. It's a very little amount of money from the town.
It's $11,000 the fuel budget for hauling. I think from your spreadsheet.
Right. So it doesn't save that much money. It's the time of the driving time and the wear and tear on the vehicles that is saving us money. It's not actually the cost of the fuel.
So do we have a contract with a tipping contract with waste disposal company?
Well, I don't think we have a contract.
We have a contract with the incinerator.
Right, we used to have one with the incinerator.
That's all, and we haul. Other towns like Concord has a contract with Waste Management, so they don't include their trash fuel on their report.
Yeah.
Right, 'cause it's yeah.
But my point was though is that when you
have a fixed charge for.
right, it's a fixed charge and a minimum charge, and depending on when that contract expires, you need to look at that.
No, it's a
Who is
10-year. We
paid.
have a 10-year contract with Andover.
Right, with a
Billerica.
minimum amount of waste, right?
No,
Tonnage?
that's illegal now.
It
I
is?
think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's no minimum.
No.
There's
That
no.
used
I
to
mean.
be, that used to be the case, but
Right.
that hasn't been
But
for
no,
a
Massachusetts.
number of years.
Massachusetts doesn't allow you to do that
Yeah,
now.
no, good, okay.
But we
Yeah,
still
well,
don't know
well,
actually what is being emitted from by Wheelabrator. You know, we don't know what chemicals they're emitting. So people that throw plastic into their trash,
Plastic
It's been-
bags.
it's been burned,
Yeah.
and that's going into the atmosphere. You know.
Well, if we can reduce solid waste by, half, 40% or whatever, that'll also reduce further the trips, because Billerica's close, then we have Andover, and then we had, Westboro. So we got rid of Westboro, but now the big trip is a 50-mile round trip to North Andover, and if we can cut those trips in half, that's gonna have, an impact. Not as big as what we did with
No, but it
Westboro,
will still have.
but it'll help, and,
Oh, you have to think you've got diesel trucks emitting pollution all the way along 495. It's not. It's for other communities too.
Okay, anything else on liaison update?
well, so I'm also looking at I looked at the bond for the truck, the roll-off truck, so I'm trying to, come up with a financial model to say, okay, look, this is what reducing tonnage by, 40% would do, including depreciation on the truck, hours of the truck driver, the fuel that Debbie's already done, studies and so on and so forth, as well as the tipping fee reductions.
Good. Okay, we're done with that. Update on long-term goals subcommittee. Have anything going on with that or not?
No, not dramatically.
To be
We're
reported on, right?
To be reported on. Yeah, there are things, but I'd rather that Bob was here and reported on them, and we'll have another meeting when he comes back from them and clarify what we'll report back.
Municipal vehicle policy. Dan isn't here, so I think we'll just pass on that. There's a couple of things that weren't on the agenda that I wanted to just bring up, and the first one was that Bob was on vacation, so he asked the vice chair, me, to talk with the selectmen about our mission statement. And the mission statement was accepted with a couple of small little changes to number 5 on the mission statement. And I haven't gotten them final yet because they haven't voted the minutes to make sure that everything's set so I can get the proper.
We don't have another meeting yet.
Yeah, right. But a couple of things were asked of us, and we should start thinking of, we probably should put them in the minutes, Deb, so that we capture it in action items for next time. One of the selectmen asked for what types of resources are needed from us, for us, as a starting point, they would like to know.
Right.
To help us do our mission. Because this was, Bob had mentioned some thoughts to me, and I also kind of massage us to say, hey, this is very ambitious mission statement, and, you know, we need some help to get all of this stuff accomplished with a lot of good volunteers. The other thing is what can be accomplished with and without the resources of this mission statement. And the third thing that they asked for is what would it take to populate the website with information that what we've done. So that's what I took away from that. So it was approved. Officially, this is our new mission statement, and there'll be some word changes on the bottom. But when I get that from Jen, I will send it out to everybody.
Post it on
And post it
Yeah.
on the website, yeah. Or I should say Bob should. He's the chair. Second thing I want to bring up that's new is that this is, you can hand this out. This is the Green Communities quarterly requirement of us to report on. And we just finished doing the annual report, and it was Debbie, myself, Bob had a little bit to do with it, and John Mativia. And we got it in. I don't know if you looked at it, Deb, or not, but there was, we had some difficulties with getting data in MEI and some errors in the loading and all. But it took some resources of mainly Debbie and I to finish it and get it in on time, so.
I'm really glad we did that.
Yes, and so that's done, except for we'll usually get some comments from them and ask questions in the future. But this is due, I think the second, it says in there, probably the 4th day after the close of the calendar year. It's January 4th to January 5th. So, and we're looking for some help on this because, you know, Debbie and myself have been doing most of these reports for the last 3 years, and could use some help on putting this together or helping it. And I don't know if Debbie, you want to do most of the writing like you did last year and the year before, but
For all the
you know,
regular pages.
but you know, we're all getting busy and kind of burned out, and we're looking for some help from the committee members.
I think with this one, because it's all to do with the project management, it really needs information in from the project management.
Right. So
And so it's just, please, can you answer the emails, so it
Right.
makes our life easier than chasing people. I think there's nothing more,
So
I mean,
the-
I get distracted and
yeah, along
I
that
forget
route,
things
Bob
like that.
sent out a message about a month ago asking everybody who are named as project managers on the project to respond to the status of their projects, and only one person named responded. And if we have to get this done by the end of December, so
well,
we
it
need
looks,
to get it.
I think we've got the ones that are, the projects that are completed, we can just get that done,
Yes.
right? And I think that's what we should aim at. And once people get used to the idea of these are the projects that are completed, then it's going to be much quicker to
Right.
get
There's
the.
only 7 projects this year, so
Yeah,
it's very
and so
simple.
I think, so we can get 3 of them, I think, are now completed, so
Yeah.
so let's start with those and.
So think about it and, you know, hopefully volunteer to help us write this thing. That'd be great. So, with that, any,
Yeah, I was
new
just,
business?
sorry, I just want to pop back to the annual report and putting it together. What I managed to do once we got the data, and I sent an email out,
Sorry.
I'm not even too sure whether it was yesterday or today, my life is so crazy at the moment, to everyone, about the fire station. There's a real anomaly there. That's 6,000 MMBTU that should not be on our report. It really affects our figures for this year. Makes us look like we're not being as efficient as we should, and we need to resolve that issue because there is no way the fire station actually used that much energy.
1 year and 1 month.
What, 2? It's almost 2. Yeah, it's 1 year and a half
Yeah.
in 1
Left the
month.
doors open.
Yeah,
now,
so I mean, there's definitely something wrong there.
there's
and-
something going on because, I talked with David Flannery on that, the fire chief, and he basically said that he was called into the office to Priscilla in the county, and the town got a massive national grid bill. And it was spread out over, I guess, a few of the buildings or whatever, and they were proportioning it. Now, it might have all come on that particular account number, and that's why it's only in the fire department,
But even regardless, it's that 600. Suddenly
Oh, I
there's,
agree.
you know, there's
Yeah, it
no
was
way,
burned.
and I think it's actually coming in, and I think it is bringing in
Double
National
billed?
Grid. I think it might be, and
Might be a double
coming in
bill.
and saying to National Grid, this is impossible, we audit this is
Yeah.
part of our job as this committee, is to audit the use and understand where energy is being used, and there's something wrong here.
Yeah. So I think we
Is there,
should.
must be a separate gas meter at the fire station.
Yes, there is. So, it's a separate account.
But I think
So-
we must have a
So I
National
think the
Grid.
starting point would be is to talk with Priscilla, who's our accountant, to find out what actually happened and why it was, what happened and where it was paid, and show her, and us show her the data, and then maybe talk with Tim also, and then go from there.
Well, it's $3,000 something, almost $4,000.
$4,000.
You know, it's not, it's one of those annoying amounts, it's not that much, but I'm a taxpayer,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
so we need to follow that up.
Yes.
And plus, it's really skewing our figures, and I just, cause I pulled it, I just saw, if we had, that 600 just completely throws out all the work we've been doing for this year.
Right, we're down to 15% savings
Exactly,
instead of 20,
exactly,
21.
so, you know, it's really important to get this resolved. And I know that we are allowed to go back and amend that, because we did mention it in the wording of the annual report, that there was an issue with billing.
Right. The annual report was sent out to all of you, so you have a copy of it, and if you look at it, go to the notes area, and that explains it. When we loaded it, National Grid, for some weird reason, stopped uploading data to the state. So we had to have the contractor who supports this MEIs hand put it in. That's what happened last week. And once that was all put in, and then we put the streetlights in, the streetlights are in also. So that's taken care of by hand. And so there's some issues going on with National Grid and how they're billing. So.
Well, and the long-term strikes, all management people are in the field, so who knows?
All right.
So that's exactly what's going on.
I wonder, actually, I wonder if that probably, yeah, no, it's January, it was in January, it was beforehand, so.
Well, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
important.
It's
Thank
very,
you for finding
it's
that.
very blatant in the MEI report.
Well, yeah, you
Despite-
can see it, yeah, it's massive, it's just like, obviously, there's, you know, you could, even if you left all the doors open,
Yeah.
you couldn't have used that much fuel.
It's not in that month.
Well, yeah, you look at the rating on the boiler and you say if you run it 24 hours, can it actually process
Burn
that
that
much
out.
gas?
Yeah, I can't. So, okay, so any other thoughts? I'm looking for a motion to close us for the night.
Motion to close meeting.
Second?
Second.
Second by Helen. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye, thank you.
Thank you, I can go, and I didn't miss a minute
Have fun.
meeting,
George.
Nice job.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wish my meetings went like this.
Bill, could you come to the next selectmen's meeting and run that?
The citizens had the opportunity and they
I
said
know.
no.
I know. I will never forgive him for that.
You're right.